Welcome to Dysfunctionally Yours, the podcast where we embrace the chaos, laugh through the struggles, and find hope on the other side of trauma. I'm your host, Brittany, and if you've ever felt like your life was a beautifully messy roller coaster of dysfunction, trust me, you're in good company. Here, we'll have real, raw, and sometimes ridiculous conversations about mental health, relationships, and healing, because let's be honest, life isn't always pretty, but that doesn't mean we can't come out of it stronger and maybe even smiling. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of bubbles, and let's navigate this wild journey together, dysfunctionally, but never alone.
Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Dysfunctionally Yours. I'm Brittany. We don't have any guests today. I am flying solo, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how that goes. I got spoiled for a couple weeks having a guest, but any hoodles, poodles, we will like, what am I talking about? We will navigate through this as well. Anyways, I really have decided that being a grown-up is dumb. It's dumb. Why do I think it's dumb this week? I feel like I could have a segment on that every week. Every week. Why is being an adult dumb this week? But anyways, I hate buying what I need versus what I want to buy. For example, I got an Amazon package this week. So excited, because who doesn't love to get an Amazon package? That's all well and good until I remembered that I bought measuring cups and like these things for my couch so that the cats won't scratch it. Things I need, not what I wanted to buy, not what I wanted to spend my money on, and actually not that exciting to like open in a package. I also am really contemplating whether or not I need an electric mixer. I don't do a ton of baking or anything like that, but I do feel like it comes in handy. Like when you need a mixer, you need a mixer, just like a little like handheld, like electric one. I don't need anything crazy. Do I want to spend $20 on that? No, I do not. I would like to go, anywhere with $20 besides that. So there's that. I would rather buy new sunglasses. There's this pair of Burberry sunglasses that I like really want. I want new stools for my like countertop. I want new plants. I want new shoes. I want more furniture, like not actual like furniture that I like need, but furniture or house decor that would make it a vibe. That's what I want. And instead I bought measuring cups. So being an adult is stupid. My ache and relief of the week, though. My ache of the week. Oh, what is my ache of the week? I think my ache of the week is like holiday finances, just because it brings up a lot of stuff in my brain, right? The idea of spending even $25 puts me into like this Christmas past PTSD of how much things cost and how much it sucked being a single mom and how much the holidays sucked. And so I'm like, oh God, a $25 Secret Santa gift. Right? Just absolute, like, it's fine, Brittany. It's fine. You can buy a $25 Secret Santa gift. But that's kind of where I am, because just every time I hear anything around the holidays, this extra happy hour, this extra gift, this extra whatever, it just is like money. Like it's like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I know that I don't have to do it, and I am working on it. I also know that I can spare $25, and I am working on it. But that is kind of where I am with just how that lands right off the gate. My relief of the week, I guess while we're talking about finances, I got new insurance. I got new car insurance. So let me tell you, when I left Virginia, I was paying $80 a month for car insurance. I moved to Colorado, and my insurance immediately upon changing the address went up to $280. It in fact increased $200 a month just to move. So that's cool. It has now increased even more, and I have a clean record. I am responsible. I don't have speeding tickets. I don't have those kinds of things. Knock on wood. That's glass, but whatever. To $392 a month for insurance. So I have had the same insurance company since 2001. So for 24 years, I have carried the same company. The same company has carried my policy. And so there was like this sense of loyalty. Like, obviously, they wouldn't be the ones screwing me over. They've always taken such good care of me, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, when I moved in all of those moving packets that you get through the post office or whatever, somebody was like, let's check your insurance quote. And I was like, well, let me humor this. So I got new insurance. I finally broke up with my insurance company and am now back down to $260 a month. So I'm saving $130 a month, and it is still, $180 more than when I left Virginia, which is just so crazy. But my relief is that I will now be saving $130 a month by switching insurance. So that's my relief, I guess. Also, another reason I hate being a grown-up. Like, that's some real grown-up shit right there. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do any of that. And hoodles. Today's episode is brought to you by a slightly unhinged and dysfunctionally yours, Brittany. No, today's episode is actually inspired by a random realization that I had coming off of last week's episode, conversations I've had throughout the week, kind of where I am for the holiday season. And that realization is that I don't feel lonely at all. Like, at all. Which apparently is very shocking. Clearly, even to myself. But apparently that is very shocking because it's like the moment that you're single and unbothered, people really act like you need to be rescued. Like, when are you going to date? When are you going to do this? What do you want to do with your time, with your life? So I got to thinking that I want to talk about what it's like to enjoy your own company. I want to talk about how I got here. I want to talk about why feeling content kind of freaks people out more than like toxic relationships. Cool? What do you think? I will say that there was definitely a time that I felt lonely. And I wasn't like, and not alone, not lonely because I was alone, but lonely because of who I was giving like my energy and my time to. And like, that is the worst kind of lonely feeling ever, when there's somebody sitting right next to you and you still feel really alone, right? I have felt that way in multiple different relationships, right? Just not seen or not heard or not valued, or constantly trying to make somebody accept me for who I am, for like my needs, and it not being enough or not being valued enough. And that is a very lonely feeling. Or the other side of that, like I feel like my most recent relationship, he was there all the time, all the time, all the time. So I definitely wasn't alone, but there was zero emotional availability. There was zero conversation. There was zero like intellectual challenge or anything like that. And it's like, that's lonely. I don't want to do that. Um, so in the past, I've definitely tolerated things to feel something. Um, and there have been times where I've accepted crumbs, just like the littlest, tiniest breadcrumbs, because I didn't really feel like I could feed myself. And that is also a super crummy feeling, no pun intended, to just accept what little somebody can give you or is willing to give you because you don't want to feel lonely, or you do want to feel like you're loved and cherished, right? At the end of the day, we all want to feel loved. We all want to feel valued and accepted. And so you tolerate so much of the garbage, but you take those little moments like, oh, they made time for me today. Like, oh, they canceled that and said I could come along with them. And now I feel like I'm so important. And that, like, what? Gross. No, hard pass. We're not going to do that anymore. we're not doing that anymore. Cause now I wake up in the morning, I look over, I have the sweetie right there ready to greet me in the morning. I take her on a walk. I sip my coffee. I prep for my day. I reflect on my life. And I am genuinely content. And I genuinely do not feel lonely. I feel so full with that, with what I have in my life right now. And that was this like what realization, like this, what? Am I broken? Am I broken because I don't want somebody here constantly? Am I broken because I don't miss having a human here? Am I broken because I don't miss the relationship? And that's kind of this weird idea too, right? So you're like, what? Does it automatically mean I'm broken if I don't have this thing that I always sought out? But I was always miserable seeking it out and never feeling enough, and certainly never feeling content. So I must be broken, right? But I think, like, here's the truth of that, though, is like, I don't need somebody to entertain me. My life entertains me. My peace entertains me. My life and my peace, I've worked so, so, so hard for those things, right? I've worked so hard for the career that I have. I've worked even harder for the peace that I have. And so it's like, what an accomplishment. And to be able to sit in it and relish it and be so proud of it and be like, oh, this is what this is. This is what you were searching for all along. And to find that peace and that entertainment in just life and not another person is a very cool realization. And like, let's be honest, TikTok entertains me, social media entertains me. The interwebs is a great place if you use it the right way. But I digress. That's not really the most important part. I like my space. I like my routines. I like, and this coming from like the control freak that I probably am, or the recovering control freak that I've talked about being, I like that I can control who has access to me instead of just being available because I don't want to be alone. I get to say who has access to me. I get to say if I want to go somewhere. I get to say if somebody comes over to my house. I get to say if I answer the phone or not. Like, nobody is mad at me if I don't answer the phone. Nobody gets to say if I didn't call them back soon enough. Like, this is genuinely like my life and my peace and my time. And my time is as important to me as I thought it was to somebody else along the way, right? Like, I'm such a Like if somebody asked me what my love language is, I would say quality time. Absolutely. It means so much to me to have quality time, because quality time is really just, you can't ever get time back. Ever. You can't get it back. You can't make it up. You just have to keep on moving and recalibrate. And so, if somebody's giving time to me, it means that they want to give their time to me, right? Like, it just feels really special. It feels like kind of the best gift that you could ever give to somebody, because you're choosing to do that. So I would absolutely always say quality time. Um, and so that meant a lot to me. Like if somebody wanted to spend time with me, and then I felt very rejected if somebody didn't want to spend time with me, or God forbid somebody be busy with a job, but I'm not there anymore. And now I'm very much that person who I get to control, who has access to my time, because time is so valuable. And there are times I want to be by myself, and I like being by myself, and I want to like decompress, and I want to recalibrate, and I don't want to constantly like give and give and give and give and give my time or my energy. So I think that is a very cool thing that I get to do now. Um, because I don't mind being alone. God, I treasure being alone. And I think people hear this sometimes and immediately assume that I'm lying. Like, you're not lonely ever? Like, ever, ever? Forever, ever? And ever, ever? But what's funny is that, like, society says that if you're single, you're missing something. So you've got to be lonely. And meanwhile, half the people that are in relationships feel lonely as hell for all of the reasons that I said before, right? Like you can be sitting right next to somebody, like in the same room, possibly on the same couch, and feel so alone because there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to connect on, because they don't value you, because there's not, like I said, that like intellectual challenge. You're not growing together. You're not learning together. So you feel so lonely. And that happens so much for people that are in relationships. So we don't have to be single to be alone or to be lonely. Um, and we also assume like that presence is connection, but it's not. Like I said, you could sit right next to somebody. So presence does not equal connection to another human being. And commitment does not equal emotional availability. And what I've definitely learned along the way is that emotional availability is probably one of the most important things to me at all, because of who I am as a person, because of how I process things, because I'm an empath myself, because I don't know, the work that I do and all of those types of things. And just like as a human being, like in order to connect and grow, you have to have some sort of emotional availability, some emotional intelligence to share and to spread and to go around. And if you don't, it doesn't mean anything at all. I had I had an ex that whenever I would get off work, he'd be like, "How was your day?" And I'd be like, "Oh, this and this and this happened." And I would start telling them about work. And like I've said before, my work can be very challenging and very traumatic on a day-to-day, um, just day-to-day. And, he'd be like, "Oh, but you're not at work anymore, so we don't need to talk about that." And it would like short circuit my brain. My brain no longer knows how to talk. My brain no longer knows how to like jump to a new topic, because I was like decompressing this day, sort of like offloading this day, so that I could move on to the next thing, and being told like, "Oh no, don't talk about that." Um, and not because it was me not wanting to talk about it, but because it was like them who couldn't handle that. That really, really sucked for me. And so then I'm coming home from work and I'm going straight to my room to sort of decompress and like it would take so much longer for me to decompress on my own in private than it would just being able to sort of like talk to somebody and offload kind of outwardly. And so that really was a struggle, because then it's like I can't be around you until I'm done. And like I don't know how long it's going to be till I can carry on a conversation that isn't about this. So it just turned into kind of a really crappy cycle, and then nobody really wants to be around the other person. Like, this is also something that is one of the most important things in my life. And the fact that I can't talk to you about it, the good, bad, or indifferent, like you don't want to hear it. Well, fuck. I'd rather talk to my cat. He listens. He's a great listener. So, don't get me wrong. Someone is amazing. Having someone is amazing, but I'm definitely at this point in time in my life not going to break my peace to find a warm body with a pulse. I don't think it's that important. Like, I've really learned to enjoy myself. I've really learned to enjoy this version of me. I have peace and I have friendships. I have hobbies. Yes, the wine and the podcast are hobbies, and it doesn't matter what else I do. I talk to my plants. I talk to my pets. Like, we're thriving over here. We are thriving. I know what to expect when I get home every day. I know that if it was a hard day, I don't have to talk to anybody. I know if it was a great day, I have friends. I have people I can talk to that, if we want to hang out, we can hang out. And that is enough. Like, the relationships that I have in my life are solid enough that I'm like, oh, this makes me feel whole for some of these pieces that I need as a Brittany, but I make myself feel whole. I give myself so much and take care of myself in such a way that is like, I don't need another person to do that. And if somebody else was there, that's fantastic. But again, if somebody is not, it's okay. Like, I can feed myself. So I don't think that being alone means being lonely. My ex, he used to say this all the time. I know we did this like makeup breakup thing for a while, which was gross, but we did a makeup breakup thing for a while. And I remember saying something to him one time, and I was like, you're going to be so lonely. Like, don't come at me. Don't judge me. We need not point out Brittany's red flags again. But like, I remember just being like, you're going to be lonely without me. And he said that. He was like, being alone does not mean lonely. And he very much would have these same types of conversations with me, that it's like, he was like, I don't mind being by myself. Like, I don't want the chaos. I don't want the drama. And I used to be like, I don't understand what this man is saying. So it's interesting to fast forward like 8 or 9 years, or God, however long it's been, and be like saying the same things. And I'm often like, I wonder if I knew him today, what that conversation would look like. Like, I feel like I would be like, I learned so much from you so many years down the road when I was ready to learn them. The lid just popped right off of my cup. I don't know if he would be like, I told you so, or if he'd be like, oh, congratulations for finally growing into an adult, Brittany. Who's to say? But I also think that being single does not mean being empty. Like, being selective doesn't mean being broken. None of those things. Like, you can be single, you can be selective, you can protect your peace, you can be alone and still thrive. I personally used to confuse boredom with loneliness. Like, if I wasn't constantly with my partner, I was like, I'm bored and I'm lonely. Like, why aren't we spending time together? Why aren't you talking to me on the phone? Why don't you want to do any of these things? And I would be just like bored. Like, I couldn't do anything else. And then also feel very lonely in those moments, which is so bizarre, because now I'm just like not bored ever. Like, I'm not bored if I'm doing something. I'm not bored if I'm not doing something. If I'm like wandering around my house, twiddling my thumbs, I'm still not bored at all. You know, some of that is probably my ADHD. It keeps me very entertained. Very entertained. For example, today I have done some laundry, cleaned half the bath, mopped half of the floor, you know, taken the sheets halfway off the bed. I walked back in there and was like, oh, I didn't even finish this. So, it's very entertaining around me. Even when I'm not doing anything, I'm doing so many things at one time. And I'm not telling you that that is productive. But I'm certainly not bored. I'm not bored with myself. I'm not drained. I'm not drained. I used to dread going home, you know. I would stay at work as late as I possibly could. As late as I could. Oh, there's more to do. It's 8 p.m. I guess I'm still at work. I'd come home from work and still work because that was all. I was just so drained from the relationship that I would just give work so much more attention so that I didn't have to focus on a crappy relationship that I wasn't getting anything out of. At least I felt like I was getting something out of my job. And not having to, I don't know, deal with emotional toddlers in adult bodies. I don't want to do that. I do that at work all the time, but I don't want to do that at home. I don't want to do that in a relationship. I don't want to tell you how to talk to me. I want you to just be able to talk to me. I don't want to tell you how to interact with me. I just want you to naturally know how. And I want us to be able to discuss and grow together or whatever, but I certainly don't want the chaos or, like I said, I don't want emotional toddlers. And I have come across some emotional toddlers in adult bodies, and it's icky. So I would say, I think the beautiful twist in all of this is that when you're not lonely and you don't settle, you don't tolerate for the half effort, and you don't entertain people that you don't like, and you don't keep all of the maybes in queues, things are a whole lot better for you, and you open yourself up when you stop tolerating things. I used to tolerate a lot of negative behaviors. I used to rationalize away a lot of behaviors. And that's not healthy either. That's not how we have positive relationships. And that's not how we feel fulfilled in a relationship. So then the relationships are just taxing. So yeah, now when peace is the prize, then, if somebody disrupts that I'm out. I want my peace all the time. And that peace is so fulfilling. So no, I have to tell myself I'm not broken. Actually, I'm probably the most regulated and calm and grounded that I have ever been in my entire life, which is kind of crazy. And also take it with a grain of salt. And if somebody wants to add to that, great, cool, fabulous, wonderful. Sounds like a great time. But if somebody doesn't, I'm going to hang out with my peace. I'm going to hang out with my pets, with my friends, with my household, with all of those things that I have worked so hard for to be fulfilled in myself, to make myself a whole, well-rounded being. I'm going to hang out with that. I'm certainly not chasing after, you know, somebody that takes away from that. And it's okay. And I love that for me. I can't imagine it. And like we talked about in last week's episode, dating is so chaotic. And so there's not a huge allure to it, right? Whenever you know that it's everybody's just wanting to, have sex or get the next, dopamine boost or something like that. I'm I don't want to do that. That feels hard. That feels not worth it to me. That feels gross. So, I love that I have found this peace for myself, and it does not mean that I am broken. It means that I am very whole. So I think that that's all for today. And I think that if you used to feel lonely and you don't anymore, or you're in your happy and alone era, I want to hear about it. Like, DM me, comment, send a little carrier pigeon. You know how I love all weird birds. Send a little carrier pigeon my way. Tell me about it. There's also that anonymous Google form that you can find on the social medias. Because I want to hear about that. Like, let's talk about that. Let's empower that and bring that so that that is a more common mentality, so that we can take away this stigma that says, like, if you're not with somebody, you're broken, or you're missing out on something, or that your life isn't as fulfilled or as fulfilling. And of course, if you are still dealing with this loneliness, you haven't stepped to the other side, you haven't stepped into the sunlight, then we can talk about that too. But like from a place of honesty, not a place of shame, not a place of like you should do it this way or that way, but like just this honest place of the journey that it is to get from point A to point B. So I want to hear that too. Again, carrier pigeon, smoke signals, dysfunctionally yours, Google form. And until then, new episodes do come out every single Monday on all streaming platforms. The uncut raw version is on YouTube. And please like, follow, and subscribe on all of the socials, Instagram, TikToks, all of that. In the meantime, don't be afraid to be great. Toodles, poodles, bye.